A disturbing attack on free speech. An assault on the basic human right of speech. Darkness is descending fast on the formerly free world. You may not believe this, but that last one wasn't Shakespeare. It was the next best thing. And what each of those is talking about isn't Russia's arrest of any and all protesters, but actually France's arrest of Telegram CEO Pavel Durov. I mean Durov. In this episode, we're going to talk about Durov. But the real question is whether France is going after an actual alleged criminal executive or if it's just cracking down on free speech. My name is Yuri Lepstein. Welcome to the Sanity Club. So, who is Pavel Durov? Well, the basics are that he is a 39-year-old Russian businessman who founded a social messaging app called Telegram way back in 2013. But here are a few more fun facts. He's known as the Russian Zuckerberg. He apparently hates wearing shirts in public. And, he claims to have fathered over 100 children via sperm donations, calling it his, quote, civic duty, and becoming a hero, I imagine, to 13-year-old boys in their bedrooms everywhere. Not to steal a phrase from the Democrats, but this guy's freaking weird. If you're an American and you haven't heard of Telegram, that's probably because it's more popular in the Soviet Union, in Europe, and in Asia, where it's used by everyone, from journalists to ISIS to, ironically enough, French President Emmanuel Macron himself. So, what does French law enforcement have on this guy? Well, Pasha, buddy, doesn't look too good. Durov failed so hard in his company's content moderation policy that Telegram basically turned into Tinder for criminals. Facilitating drug deals? Check. Child pornography? Check. Money laundering? Also check. Oh, and did I mention ISIS? None of this has anything to do with Durov's opinions, beliefs, or, his free speech. It's about him dropping the ball as CEO. It's about professional negligence. I mean, come on. If your company was accused of enabling drug deals and gun running, you'd be holed up in the Chateau d'If too, eating crepes and sipping café au lait. I assume I'm not particularly well read on French prisons. Of course, none of this is stopping the usual suspects from making Durov out to be some kind of free speech folk hero. Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson, the deputy chairman of the Russian National Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev. Wait, что? We all know that Putin, his alcoholic lapdog Medvedev, and other agents of doubt like to stir the pot and, like to make us second guess our institutions and our democracy, right? Well, Telegram really helps them with that. The app is a super spreader of Russian propaganda and actually a communications hub for the Kremlin and for the Russian military, which, by the way, still hasn't figured out an alternative. So Durov isn't just a bad boss. He's essentially repping a hostile foreign power. So, no, Mr. Medvedev, this has nothing to do with censoring free speech. And oh my God, Comrade Pot, meet Comrade Kettle. But let's pump the brakes for a beat. Are all threats to free speech actually Russian propaganda? No, of course not. There are real threats out there. I mean, take the UK, for example. In the face of far-right riots, Britain has gone after people for some pretty nasty speech, including invoking white supremacist slogans. But here in the US, offensive speech isn't enough to land you in jail, or even in front of a judge. In fact, it's offensive speech that requires the most protections because, popular speech doesn't usually come under attack. Now, of course, there are some lines. People don't generally shout fire in a crowded theater. But the question for us is, where do we draw the line? And British prosecutors have decided, apparently, that it's wherever the hell they want. And this actually is a threat to free speech. Because the same system that got skinheads locked up for racist rants also got an innocent protester locked up for holding up a sign that said that Rishi Sunak fell out of a coconut tree. I think Kamala might have a problem with that. At the end of the day, freedom of speech isn't just a right. It's a responsibility. There's a famous saying, I may disapprove of what you say, but I will fight to the death for your right to say it. And this is personal for me, because I don't just disapprove of the things that Elon Musk or Tucker Carlson says. I mean, I think they're vile, toxic, poison pills for a free society. And yet, in a democracy, we don't beat people like that by calling the cops. We beat them in the marketplace of ideas. As for Pavel Durov, we're not discussing his ideas, but the crimes that he stands accused of. And, we'll see what the courts end up saying about them. But I, for one, won't hesitate to say, До свидания, Pasha.